So in Clovis, California, we just finished installing a Moen cartridge in here. This is straight from Moen. It's the 1222. So it's posi temp. And so trim plates sitting in there. Down here you can see the cartridge that came out. So it is in multiple pieces. There's the inside that goes through. All the plastic snapped off, rubbers shaved off. So we did dig out as much rubber and plastic as we could see. It looks like the hot and the cold ports are open, and went ahead and got the new cartridge in there, got it lubed up real good with our grease. And so the water is still down. We're going to replace a crossover valve for a Watts recirculation pump here in the master bath, and then we're going to drain down both water heaters as annual maintenance, and we'll take another video when we're done. So we're in Clovis, California. We just finished installing a new crossover valve from, this is actually from those Watts pump connected to the water heater, but they use the same crossover valve. So you can see this guy was in there. Trouble that we're having in the master bath is the shower was getting piping hot, just hot, way too scalding hot. Water heater's set correctly at about 120, but still too hot. So a couple things that we did, and we were just kind of, this is troubleshooting 101, which is kind of check things off the list. One, it could be the crossover valve. There's a check valve in here that, I mean, it looks fine, but we just replaced the valve. These are $50 out of Amazon, and so we replaced it just to make sure that there was nothing wrong with the crossover valve. Sometimes you have trouble with that. But also replaced the cartridge in the master shower, and we already took a video of that. It came out in pieces, it just snapped off. It took us quite a great deal of time getting it out of there, which that rarely happens, but sometimes it does. So that's good. New cartridge is in. You should see improvement in the situation. We can't test it because the water heater that runs this bathroom is filled with cold water right now. The burner is on and it's heating up, so certainly in an hour and a half, when you have hot water, this pump will be running and you'll know whether or not it's resolved the issue. I wish I could guarantee that that's it. It's the only two things I can think of. A cartridge, when you have dripping or when you have imbalanced hot-cold, it goes super hot or super cold or warm and you're not even touching the faucet, which I'm talking about the master shower, or the crossover valve. Something's going on because this is the hot loop that is introducing water into the cold side and then taking it back to the water heater. So like I say, just to hedge our bets, replace the crossover valve, replace the cartridge. It's a Moen posi temp over at the shower, and that's it. So we took this apart and there was so much debris in these lines that when we tied it back together using the old supply lines, these guys just had a lot of imperfections on them from being seated against, it's almost silt and sand, very fine pebbles, so it indented the rubber gaskets and it began to leak out of here. So we pulled it back out and there was a bunch of debris in there. You can even see some right now in there, just little chunks, and that's all it takes to break the seal. So it was dripping down here. So these guys came out, put some new Fluid Master 3/8 by half by 20-inch supply lines in there. Monitor this, monitor. Make sure that it doesn't begin to weep. You'll see water right down here. Anything happens, it's dry right now, but if anything begins to happen, you've got 4 points of connection right there. Let us know. Put a paper towel down there maybe and see if it'll, if it drops, you'll be able to see it right away. Additionally, your shutoff valves, they're grinding. You've got so much debris in those guys, it's not good. I wouldn't touch those ever again. I won't work on those again, mainly because they're, when you tighten the packing nut, it crunches, which means all of that debris is in that packing nut, and it's getting ready to fail. And so if you just leave them alone, it's not a problem. It's just when you go to shut them off, as the homeowner knows, you go to touch it, and all of a sudden it's spraying everywhere. So anyways, that's the project in the master bath. We're going to go upstairs and take another video of another little project. Still here in Clovis, California, and we're in the upstairs hall bath. You can see back here behind here we got a brand new shutoff valve and a brand new braided stainless steel supply. This project kicked off with the homeowner trying to do some maintenance on the toilet, and as soon as he touched the old multi-turn valve, it started spraying everywhere. So he turned it back on, which typically it'll just stop dripping if you just leave it alone, and but he needs to work on the toilet. So the only thing you can do is give him a new valve, or you got to shut the whole house down every time you got to work on a fixture, whether it's a toilet, a sink, whatever. So anyways, quarter turn shutoff valve, they're nice because you can see these guys just quarter turn off, quarter turn on. And then we've got a 3/8 by 7/8 by 20-inch braided stainless steel supply, and that is a Fluid Master, and so that's good. So we flushed it a couple times. Again, monitor this area. You know, the new valve, you can see it's a compression nut that sits back here. So you definitely would want to keep an eye on any kind of moisture that comes, you know, out of the back side of the nut. Let's see if I get a picture. Probably not. Let's see. There you go. So back in here, you know, just wipe your finger or put a paper towel down. It'll tell you if it's dripping or not. As long as there's no hint of moisture, you're good. Same thing with the threads. Same thing in the front here where this turns. It's a stainless steel ball, so you shouldn't have any trouble. And then, of course, this is a rubber gasket here. And then up at the top, it's a rubber gasket as well. So just monitor all these areas for weeping at all. And we can get a wrench on there and tighten them up. But for right now, it looks good. The problem, which is specific to this home, is the water. And so you can get with your well guy, see how you'd like to resolve it. But if you look in the bottom of the tank, you can see that's a very fine silt. A little bit of sediment, a little bit of gritty sand in there, very small. But the silt, which is the very smooth, sticky stuff, that goes into all your plumbing fixtures. You can see it's built up on your fill valve right here, the slimy scale right there. And then it's creating the rubber flapper down here. You can change all this now because you have a shut-off valve, so you can turn it off, drain the tank down, and change all this if you want to. But that's the problem that you're fighting with right there, is unclean water. And so there's nothing you can do about that. Especially on this side of the tank, you can see there's quite a bit of grit. I'm not going to try and zoom in and get it, but it's a thicker grit of sand sediment that goes through all your screens, your aerators. It goes through the Watts comfort valves that are at the kitchen sink and the master bath lavatory sink. So it clogs those up and causes problems with the check valve. So I'd recommend getting with your well guy. And there are very specific filters for depending on the debris. And I'm not an expert in that area. I don't do filtration as much as I should, but that, you know, you don't want a filter that's just going to get clogged up with the silt, but you also don't want something, a mesh so big that the debris just flows through and it ends up in your tanks and all your plumbing as well. So anyways, that one's done. We did flush the water heater in the outside closet. I'm not going to go down there and take a picture. That was the first thing we did when we got here. Flushed that out, filled it back up. It's heating now. Pump is on. We're going to go to the other room where we're draining the water heater and see if we're done, and we'll take another video.